So, with the last part, we've seen how to set up the lobby. Okay, you are now probably already ready to have a lobby scene, have your player scene, pass references from the clients to the server, and basically for the server for the clients. Okay, when everybody hits ready, then you load your scene. So on this part, we're going to focus on how we can load the actual scene, and we'll see if we have time. We'll cover syncing the players in this one. Otherwise, we're going to do it into the next one. So, okay, let's go to the actual game multi-scene. Okay, we have two scenes. One is the game scene, and the other is the game multi-scene. They are almost identical to each other. Okay, yeah, I do not talk about the camera. Okay, as far as the managers and all this stuff is concerned. So let's go into game multi. I've actually made the game scene first, and I just duplicate it and to the game multi, and then add the new stuff we need to do. For the most important differences are that the game multi scene has two new game objects, which is multiplayer session and map controller network. Okay, everything else is the same. We still have our map, we still have our level editor with the serializer and all that, and of course our camera holder. So multiplayer session is what is the actual thing that syncs the level on start. Okay, when you're creating a level, you're saving it, and the multiplayer session is what actually syncs the level towards to the clients. So let's see the multiplayer session. We need all this. These are our own namespaces. Everything else has to do with our levels. Public static string level file. This is the final file we're going to get and which we're going to pass through the network. This is turned into a level data array, which is a list of bytes. And yeah, game started. I bet you can guess what this is. We use start because we do not know when the game multi-scene is going to load. Okay, as we said, the lobby scene will automatically load the new scene, the game scene, when all your players are ready. So on start, we need to set the references. So we go into the menus folder and activate the loading UI, and from over here is where we start syncing the level. So if this is the network server active, so the start on this runs on the server, and the level file is not null, then we start the coroutine to start sending level data to clients. So how we can find our level data to clients. So we start with an array of bytes, which we are going to call level data, and we use file read all bytes level file. Okay. However, because there's limits how many data we need, we can send through the network, then we need to split this into 1 kilobyte. So we create lists of byte arrays, which we're going to call level data chunks, split array. Okay, our level data in every 1000 bytes is going to split it and add it into an array. Then we start sending stuff to clients. Level byte counter, okay, which one we're sending, and we have a for loop. So whenever we have more than 10, we do a yield return, wait for 0.1 seconds, okay, and reset the level byte counter whenever this is more. Else we get the next 10 and we do an RPC load level, and we load the level data chunks. Okay, this is run on the servers is a little bit below, and we're going to see it in a bit. So we basically split it into chunks and send it with RPC load level, and if this is true, means we've sent the last chunk through the network. Okay, pretty straightforward. Then we keep adding on our level byte counter. So we basically send 10 kilobytes, I think, every second. I think Unet has 16 kilobytes limit, although you probably can set this. Okay, maybe I'm wrong with this. I don't remember right now. So if the network server is active, then check to see, each time we check if we are ready to actually start the game. Split array is this list bytes. Okay, it's what splits the byte array into chunks. Return bytes, the actual chunk. Current chunk size starts with 0, so we keep adding. We have a for loop, and we add to our input, and we also update the current chunk size. And if the current chunk size is greater than the chunk size, we add the previous chunk into the array of this one. We clear the chunk and we reset the current chunk size. If the chunk count is greater than 0, then we have something to return, and we return the bytes. We basically add all the array back to the return bytes, and we return our bytes. This is a function we call when a player dies. We should probably see it another time or in the next video, but yeah, it's not something. Yeah, let's see it now. You need to pass. This takes the new script we're going to create for input handling through the network. Okay, and checks if it's dead, change the state to dead, and if it is, throw a debug log, start coroutine, and respawn your player. To respawn the player, you just do this, respawn player in the RPC of the character, which is inside input handler network. Okay, you set this up over here. Okay, just ignore these two, or just keep them in mind. We're going to see them on the next part. Check start game. Okay, checks if all the players have loaded the level. So we find, of course, the reference to decision master, and all loaded will start as true, and we do a for each loop for every created lobby character we have inside the decision master created characters. If the lobby player is server, if not the server, and if he is not has loaded level, then all loaded will be false. Okay, and that's what this does. So check start game. If everybody has loaded the level, then you do an RPC call to the clients that you are ready to start the multiplayer game. And if it's the actual server, then you call start game actual, which goes on to over here and closes the load UI game object and says that the game has started. Okay, and you start multiplayer. That's it. And yeah, we are multiplayer season. We've seen this. We were over here. Okay, check start game, and that's how you start your game, and that's how you also wait until all your clients have loaded the level. So some RPCs. RPC, register distraction and position. This has to do with, because we have on every multiplayer session is only on the game multi-scene. That means we can also store a few classes over here. So we have an RPC to register and distraction and position, which what it does is, if it's called by the network server, it's going to return. But if it's not, then it's going to go on to because as we said, RPC doesn't go to the server, it goes to the clients. Okay, then it's going to go into the map controller, get distance, register distraction and position, and you pass the position. Now, RPC add damage to node network. Okay, your node, the position of the node basically, the owner ID, and the damage type. And we have, again, if this is a server return, map controller, we get the references, we get the node, we assign, we start with, the unit to be null, and then for each unit we have, we also get component, the input handler network, and if the network ID is equals the owner ID we're passing, then we assign the unit. Okay, and if the unit is null, so we just assign one owner in case we didn't find a unit, and then we simply add damage to the node, which is this, the map controller. Okay, map controller, get distance. So the other RPCs we have: start multiplayer game, start game actual, start game actual. Okay, this is still an RPC. Again, RPC load level. This is the actual, this is what actually runs off into the clients when they want to load your level, your custom level. So we receive our level data array. Okay, and if it's true, that is the last one, the last chunk, that is, if you remember, we just said this, so you should remember, send level data to clients. The last one is going to return the level data chunks, and this will be true. So we're here, if it's not a server, okay, we have a level data array. If it's the last one, throw a debug log that we have received our level. We have our byte array, so we turn that into level data array. So up till above this is what has to do with loading the level through the network. Okay, everything else is simply loading the level. We right now have the actual file, we have a binary file, so it only needs to to basically deserialize that file. We have our formatter, a new stream, our save file, we deserialize the stream into a file, and we are ready basically to load on the map creator. It is as network load map, and we pass the save file. Okay, we've seen network load map quite well a bit. We just assign the save file, and we call load map and start multiplayer actual. Set your master again. We need to find the input handler of the local player object, and we basically initialize it, this time for the network, of course, and then we simply say that we run a command that the player has actually loaded the level. Okay, that was it. That's it's also Singleton, of course. So that's how you actually load levels through the network. We turn them into bytes, or it's already into bytes since it's already serialized. We split those bytes into chunks, and we pass the chunks one by one by network, keeping in mind how many we are sending with seconds. Okay, and when we have received all our level, we deserialize it and we load it like any other level. So that was it. Now let's see the map controller network. This has to do when you are destroying a node, over the network, or when you receive commands or send the commands over your network. Destroy node over network. Okay, X, Y. You find the node, you basically split the node into its positions, into integer, and you send this with a command. The command to destroy node is this, which calls to the server that there is going to be a destroy node, and the server then calls RPC destroy node, and this will run on the clients. The clients are going to find their node from the map creator for their own map creator, and then they're going to go into the map controller and say destroy that node, and it's also singleton. Okay, so with this now you are ready to do almost a full loop. You actually have a full loop. You can unload levels. The only thing apart is seeing the, initializing the player, syncing the players over the network. Now we're not finished yet. We're going to see again. We're going to go on the session master and we're going to follow all the script until we are at the point where the input handler can play a game. I think this will help you understand it a little bit better. So we start a new game. Okay. Whenever you start a new game and you are in the main scene after the logo scene and all that, you come in here into this scene, start coroutine, start game. The start game will run this and will run the init. Okay, so we are now on the main menu. On the main menu, your player selects multiplayer. We initialize. We get a default level just in case somebody forgets to select a new level, and we start our multiplayer. Start multiplayer, what it does is sets up our two booleans we have to see if we are on it or not, and then we start the load scene. We load our lobby scene. We are inside our lobby scene. If I find the multiplayer manager, okay, and the player presses a button. The two buttons he can press is create game, find game. Let's say he creates the game, that is the server. So he has created the game. We start host using unet. Then we are inside the actual lobby scene where we have our player. Let's start again. We are inside the actual lobby scene. We are in here. So I can select levels, select characters, change names, wait till somebody else comes inside, and when I hit ready, before we see that, when I hit ready, it comes and runs all this. So basically it goes and says to the unit that on your network lobby player has sent the ready to begin message. It waits to begin. It waits that it has reached the least amount of players it can have to start the game. So it loads the game scene. The game scene loads, and the multiplayer session, okay, before it actually loads the level, the multiplayer session comes over here, sees that it starts, sees that it's the server, starts the coroutine to start loading the level data to the clients. Of course, the server will automatically load the level. By level I mean the level you have created. It will load it from the disk. Okay, the server needs to have the actual level, otherwise there is no level. So it loads the level and then sends the level data to the clients. Okay, we've seen how it is. It basically gets your binary file, splits it into chunks, and then sent one by one, not one by one, 10 by 10 in this case, through the network. Okay, when everything has passed through the network, when all our level has passed through the network, it's going to do a check start game, and everybody has loaded their own level. That means you can actually start the game. So it's only a matter of going and disabling the loading UI, the loading screen, saying that the game has started, and then from over there it's all up to making you actually play the game from there. So that's it. Okay, we've covered the whole loop. If I press escape and go back to menu, we are back again and we are ready to, if you want to create a level or if you want to play multiplayer or single player and so on. So we have complete loop. On the next part we're going to see the final thing as far as the initial version is concerned, which is syncing the players through the level. So until then, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, Patreon, or if you like to support me another way, then that way is Gumroad, and you also can get projects that help you jumpstart a game. So I'll see you next time.